Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's a beautiful 2nd of July, 2021. Coming up, the Crusty Canuck podcast, episode 138. This is reconciliation and recent events, the toppling of certain statues in Winnipeg and around the country, church fires, and the wildfires in BC. All that and more coming up the podcast. Please stick around, and listener discretion and viewer discretion is advised. Enjoy.
Hit it, sweetheart. Because I am hard, you will not like me.
Yes, sir.
There is no racial bigotry here. Here you are all equally worthless.
From Western Canada, this is the Crusty Canuck podcast, a Canadian veteran's point of view on political, social, economic issues, and life. Here's Crusty.
Mama always said I had a face for radio.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Crusty Canuck podcast. I'm your host, Crusty Canuck. Mind the light here. We've had some issues with power in this area because of the overwhelming heat. So those out there, please hydrate to the best of your ability. It is a bloody scorcher out there. Like I said, I'm Crusty Canuck. In this episode 138, this is reconciliation. Now, this is going to be a rant, ladies and gentlemen. It's not going to be a huge podcast. Needless to say, it's just going to be my rants and takes on the recent events that's been going on in our country today. Never mind the scorching heat. How about those fires in BC? Firstly, I want to say to everyone out there in Lytton, BC, my sincerest condolences for your loss of your homes, your livelihoods, and my condolences to the families and friends and loved ones of those who are lost. And there was a nasty house fire that happened in Chestermere in Calgary last night, too. 7 lives were lost there as well. So my condolences to those families as well. I guess it was lightning strikes that set the fires that caused such devastation. And is this what Catherine McKenna means about climate change? Things drying up and all this stuff, right? So something to think about, folks. And I'm not making light of people losing their homes, but this heat is just nature's way of saying something. It has nothing to do with climate change as far as I'm concerned. It's just a scorcher. And once again, my sympathies and my condolences to those who have lost their homes in BC. And we can build it back for all years. I'm not going to say build back better. I almost caught myself there. But needless to say, ladies and gentlemen, we can rebuild and do what we can to help each other out in these trying times. And wow, it's just tough to see a whole village wiped out because of a fire. You know, there's footage on CTV now as we speak about lightning strikes that started them all. So there's no finger pointing. There's no blaming here. It's just people having to get together and be a community, regardless of what political power is calling the shots or not. Once again, my sincerest sympathies and condolences to those who've lost their homes and their loved ones in this devastating fire. And also my American friends, too. My condolences to the individuals that have been found in that building in Miami that toppled, based to poor foundation, what have you. There's still investigations going on. They're still finding bodies. So to my listeners in Florida, my condolences out to you as well out there. If you have family members or friends that you knew in those buildings or that building per se. Anyway, carrying on. Is this reconciliation? Now, there have been churches that have been set ablaze here in Edmonton, Morinville, a couple in Calgary and in British Columbia. And a few of those churches were on reservations. I'll leave links in the description for you, ladies and gentlemen, to follow too. But this is just going to be my rant and my take on it. How is that going to create justice? Okay. Now, I've talked about this before in my last couple episodes in regards to reconciliation and truth. And don't be wrong, ladies and gentlemen, I am a firm believer in it. We got to find the truth of what happened, and we have to reconcile everything so we can all move forward properly. Okay, not the liberal brand of moving forward, not the liberal brand of kumbaya. I'm talking proper moving forward as adults and as members of this society, okay? As members of this society, once we know the real truth, we can move on. But setting fire to churches, burning down places of worship, doesn't really make a point now, does it? I don't think those individuals that set those fires, and it doesn't matter what color they are, doesn't matter what generation they represent or who they're fighting for, these individuals took it upon themselves to set ablaze other people's property, okay? Whether it belongs to the Catholic Church, Anglican Church, or whatever community, okay? There are still people in our society that still use those churches as places of worship, as places of refuge, as a sense of community. And regardless of how you feel about the Christian faith coming to North America the way it did, that doesn't justify your actions. That doesn't justify the reconciliation movement. Okay? I personally am not a Christian. I've said this to you before numerous times, ladies and gentlemen. I am not a believer. I don't believe in God. I don't believe in Jesus Christ. I don't believe in the Virgin Mary. I don't believe in Muhammad. I don't believe in Moses. I don't believe in any organized religion, because my personal spirituality is me. What I believe in, what I see, what I can touch, taste, and feel. That's me. So you can call me an atheist, call me agnostic, whatever you like, that's fine. Okay? But I don't believe in ruining anyone's place of worship in the name of an old ideology or some old anger or retribution for something that I pretty personally think that these arsonists had really nothing to do with. Okay? If you want to put people on trial, then let's get the Vatican over here and to explain things. Let's get the Church of England involved too, because they were a part of it as far as I know. And whatever monarch has the cojones to represent what the monarchy did at said time, bring him into the conversation too. Okay? And every politician that has been alive, that is still alive, who knew about residential schooling, who knew about the whereabouts and the facts and figures and all the data, okay, bring him into a hearing. Okay? That's my solution. That's probably the most peaceful solution I can think of without having to resort to this stuff all the time. Okay? Now, Queen Victoria, yeah, she was the sovereign of the Commonwealth at the time. I get it. Who knows what orders or what papers she might have signed or what declarations she might have signed to encourage residential schooling. But that is not going to bring the memory of those fallen back. Okay? That is not going to understand the mass graves. Now, we have heard about the ground radars. We've heard about the technology going into this and discovering this. Fine. Dig it up. Let's find out. Okay? Because if we can carbon date stones with dinosaur bones in them and carbon date them to how many millions of years ago they existed and roamed the earth and did all these wonderful things that gave us fossil fuels today, how come we can't find people to dig up these remains to find out exactly what the fuck happened? Right? If there's so much money that's going to be poured into it from the federal government to find out what's going on, why aren't digging these things up now?
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
And that's right, ladies and gentlemen, too. Please follow me on Supercast, too. I'll leave a heading here shortly. Follow me on Supercast. $5 a month gets you all of my Crusty Canuck audio episodes, censorship-free. That's right. $5 a month gets you every Crusty Canuck episode. It's a Canadian-sponsored, well, Canadian-based company. I think they have offices in Los Angeles, too, if I'm not mistaken. But they're out of Victoria and Vancouver. Please try out Supercast today. Support Canadian content as we speak, because C10 was not really passed by the Senate, thankfully. And C36 is still in the works, so pay attention to that. So please support Canadian content by supporting me on Supercast today. And we're carrying on. Like I said, we have the technology to find things and discover things in the ground. Okay, now whether it's 200 children or 100 children or 100 people or 100 of these or 100 of those, let's dig it up and find out. Let's find the truth. Is that not what we're supposed to be doing? Trying to find the truth in this dilemma? Okay. And burning churches and burning places of worship, regardless of how heinous the Catholic Church or Anglican Church, United or Presbyterian, or whatever church was involved is, that does not justify burning down a church now. Doesn't. Okay. I personally know some good people that happen to be Christian. They preach their gospel, but they also walk their truths too. They go out of their way to help people out. And I can guarantee there's not a racist bone in their body. So they're not going to condemn anybody for being First Nation, from being from Pakistan or India or China or Japan or Pakistan, or I mentioned Pakistan, or anywhere else for that matter. Okay. They're good-natured people. And just because, let's say, their church did something heinous many moons ago, that doesn't justify some shithead or some shit pump to get out there and set fire to it. Okay. It's not right, because I know for a fact that a lot of churches and the communities I grew up in have always been a good pillar of support when it comes to charitable things for kids at Christmas, kids at Easter, kids overseas, right? And there's always going to be the odd shithead in the mix causing trouble. We get that. Okay. And regardless of myself being a non-believer, that doesn't mean I'm going to chastise anyone who goes to Sunday worship or Wednesday worship or Christmas mass. You know, I don't care. My lifestyle is not compromised because of that. Okay. And the Christian faith has had a big overhaul over the past 100 years in regards to enforcing rules and regulations and all this stuff. Heck, I remember as a kid, Sunday shopping laws were such a big deal. Oh my God, you can't go shopping on Sunday. It's a sin. How dare you? It's the Lord's day of rest. And people realized, fuck, we can make some money on Sunday. There you go. So people started opening up the shops on Sunday, right? So regardless of where you sit on the religious fence or not, it doesn't matter. It does not justify someone burning the church over what was found on this reservation, on this piece of land, or in that piece of land. It doesn't justify it. Okay? It doesn't. You're not going to bring or honor the memory of anybody fallen by burning down the monument. Now, I've been angry at the government for a long time. Okay? But I'm not going to set fire to a government building because of their lack of respect for the veteran. Okay? I'm not going to do it. What would I have to gain by doing that? Okay. Nor am I going to gain any notoriety for toppling a statue of Pierre Trudeau. Now, I personally disagree with even having a statue to that piece of shit. That's just me, though. Okay. But my lifestyle is not going to improve or going to change if a statue is sitting there or if it's sitting here. I can understand the anger and the frustration. Yes, of course. But you're not going to bring the memory or on the memory of them by doing that. My idea of truth and reconciliation is this. Leave the statues up where they are. Let history be there. Regardless of the bad bits and the bad points and all these terrible things that they supposedly did, let's resurrect some statues of Tecumseh. Let's erect a statue of Joseph Brant. Let's erect another statue of Sitting Bull. Let's erect a statue of some of the Comanche leaders out there. Let's erect a statue of the Dakotas. Let's erect a statue of some Inuit leaders out there. Some notable Canadians. Now, I can say First Canadians, too. If you want to get technical, fine. Let's erect that. Share the land together as we should we not? Or do we constantly have to sit in little groups and categories over and over again? Right? I don't like groups and categories. It's good to acknowledge someone's background, yes, but is that who they are? Okay? My background comes from Ireland and Scotland. But if I was talking to an Irish right now, he'd look at me going, "You're not Irish." And rightfully so. I would not be Irish. Name might be Irish, but my name is also Scottish too. A Scotsman would probably say to me, "You're not Scottish. What do you know?" Exactly. I am a Canadian. My roots come from Europe, yes. And it's funny because it's bringing me to a point of conversation too where I had with someone on Facebook. Like I say, I'm not going to mention any names, ladies and gentlemen. I don't believe in this doxing bullshit. But she made it very clear that she was a female. And she made it very, very staunch and clear to me that European descendants should just go back to Europe. Okay. And I pondered, the question before I asked her, thinking, okay, what if everything European went back to Europe? Every innovation the past, let's say 200 years for shits and giggles. Okay. Every innovation that has come to North America from the European settlers, all of a sudden said, fine, we're packing up. We're getting the fuck out of here. Okay. And she said, oh, that'll just be fine. Just let me go hunt with my rifle and go live in the bush and I'll be just fine. She didn't like the fact that I told her, well, guess what? Your rifle's going too. Because, gunpowder and muskets and all that good stuff came from the European settlers. So if you want to get back to traditional roots, fine. You go back, live in the bush, teach yourself again about the medicines and the healing elements of certain plants and foods. Okay. And hunt with a sharp pointy stick or a spear, no metal, because before Europeans came to North America, not too many people knew how to forge steel to make good spearheads or make good arrowheads. You know what I mean? So keep that in mind. Now, societies lived and thrived without the European intervention for a very, very long time. They made tools, bone and stone and what have you. So if you want to get rid of the European influence in North America, then fine. You start from ground zero, Start from the ground up. Okay. Create your own antibiotics, create your own medicines, create your own cell phones, your own radio waves, your own technology. Okay. Your own weapons, without any European influence. And we'll see how that goes. Okay. For those of us who want to cancel history, good luck to that. Okay. Right. I for one, I'm getting so sick and tired of this cancel culture bullshit. Okay. So Johnny MacDonald helped create the railroad in this country. Okay. So Wilfrid Laurier united a lot of French and English division. Okay. So Robert Borden mobilized a nation to go fight a dirty, nasty fucking war. And regardless of how you feel about those three prime ministers, okay, I know I'm missing one in between Laurier and MacDonald. I'm a little shady on my Canadian politics at the moment from the 1870s. But I think you get my point when it comes to understanding the building of this country. Okay. Now, I'm not justifying any terrible thing that's happened to anybody. But a lot has changed in Canada since the 1860s. Quite a bit. And if those individuals that sit there and go, rah, 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 let's burn the church, rah, 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 let's tear down the statues, rah, 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 you're not just denying history for yourselves because you don't like it. You're denying history for the next generation that's coming up. Because let's say if you lot end up spawning some kids and they ask you the tough questions, Mom, Dad, who is this person? Mom, Dad, who is that person? And while you're tearing down statues and tearing up the books and everything right now, you won't have that information to give them. You see what I'm getting at here? And you'll probably look like a fucking moron.
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
And once again, just to remind these folks, please check me out in Supercast too. You can find me on Supercast. Check out my podcast there. CrustyCanuck.supercast.tech, censorship free. That's right. You can find Crusty Canuck, my podcast there, all audio there. $5 a month gets you all of my episodes. Censorship free. Plus, you're helping out a Canadian podcaster and you're supporting Canadian content. Something that C10 won't really do. They'll just censor it. But hey, please join today. And while we still have freedom of expression online, please check out me on Supercast. Anyway, carrying on. More of this is this reconciliation? Are these issues that has happened the past couple of weeks, at least this past week, justified? Right? I heard rumblings of people saying, oh, someone started the fires in BC. Well, there's footage that lightning struck. So I don't think anyone started the fires in BC. I think it's just a freak of nature and shit happens. But once again, I like to say to my friends and family in British Columbia, my sincerest condolences to my brothers and sisters out there. Please, my deepest sympathies. And if some of you have my email, please don't hesitate to ask me for anything. Okay, I'm available. Please give me a call too. Some of my friends who know who I am. Let me know what's going on, folks. Please keep me posted on what's happening. But moving on, still reconciliation. You're not going to reconcile any kind of differences by burning someone's property. Okay, whether it belongs to a wealthy religious conglomerate or a small town. Okay, it's not going to honor the memory of those who are fallen. It's not going to bring back those who are fallen. You're just creating more anger and division. And the last thing we need right now, ladies and gentlemen, is more bloody fucking division. We've already got professional victims in Ottawa doing that for us. Why the hell do we think we need to hear right now? Okay, do the math. Okay. Now, I've had a couple of First Nation members come aboard me, like I said in my last episode, reminding me about my privilege and all these wonderful things. And yet I saw the footage of 2 years in Winnipeg. Okay. You've got the ability to travel to one side of the nation to the next to tell me about my privilege because you're pulling down statues. Okay. Well, your actions speak louder than words now. Okay. And I'm a firm believer that you take action to fix something, to do something, to make something better. You don't take action to destroy something. Okay. Now, regardless of how I feel about the monarchy right now, and my loyalty is to Canada, first and foremost. I'm not loyal to the Queen anymore, regardless of what affirmation I made as a soldier. Okay. And out of tradition and in a certain respect, yes, Like I say, I'm sure she's a wonderful lady. I'm sure she's very polite and courteous. And has a nice cup of tea, what have you. But my Canada doesn't include the monarchy governing anything. We can use the likeness, maybe. We can maybe have some of it on our doctrine. But as far as I'm concerned, she does not govern me. And the future king will not govern me or any future king or queen thereafter. That's just how I feel about it. Okay? And I'm not going to enforce that anybody else. I'm not going to preach that gospel till my eardrums bleed. Okay? That's just my personal opinion. But I'm not going to call myself an ally because it's trendy. I'm going to call myself a human being to other human beings too. That we're in this country together, ladies and gentlemen, regardless of color or creed. Okay, regardless of the history. Yes, the 1860s were a bloody decade in North America. Okay, we know this. All right, the United States Civil War happened. 250,000 people were killed in that war. A terrible, fucking dirty civil war. Okay. And at that time, Canada was starting to build things to get permission from Britain, to get support from Britain in regards to building our own nation. Okay. Now I'm reflecting back to my early high school history here, what I remember, but Canada was just tiny. I think maybe about 4 million people tops. Very, very tiny population compared to the United States. I think that at that time had about 25 to 100 million people living in the original 13 states and other territories that they were expanding in. Okay. So there was quite a bit of population difference in that area. Okay. Correct me if I'm wrong, though. This is all speculation based on the notes I took in high school. Okay. So bear with me, folks. But there's still quite the difference there. And there could have been annexes here, annexes there, but there wasn't. But there was a threat of annexation. And a guy by the name of Sir John A. and the other Fathers Confederation decided to do something about it, which it worked. So to summarize, okay, it worked. Okay. And you had people that assisted in building the railway, getting money here, getting money there. And yes, there was slave labor. Okay. There was Chinese inventors there, or not inventors, sorry. There was Chinese people that were taken, used as cheap labor. There were other people used as cheap labor too. There was quite a bit of an entourage there. And it wasn't perfect, but that was the sign of the times too. Okay. Now you'd be hard pressed to find too much of that kind of garbage going on right now, because the Asian population in this country has contributed quite a lot towards academia, towards art, towards the economy, towards technology. And the Asian Canadians I worked with in the military, they had no problems. They had no issues, right? They're some of the best. I made some great friends out of Asian Canadians. And I'm not going to be one of those guys saying, oh, I have this friend who's this. And, you know, I'm just telling you how it is. Okay. So when we look back at our history, we have to really, really appreciate the differences we've overcame, the resilience that Canada overcame those years. Regardless if there was loyalty to an empire or loyalty to a monarchy or loyalty to anything other than democracy. And we're missing that right now too. We're missing this loyalty to democracy because we're seeing all this shit come down from Ottawa. We're seeing all this garbage come on from Ottawa about our deficits and about the WE scandal and SNC-Lavalin and rampant sexism and misogyny and all the environment and climate crisis and all this inflation. And it seems ironic too that even our federal government has taken advantage of this opportunity to tell us again how racist we are, tell us again how bigoted we are. Oh, we should be ashamed. And yet these are the clowns too that said it was okay to give themselves another pay raise 2 years in a row. Okay. It's okay to give themselves a little more incentive while they take more from us. But of course, the voter base doesn't want to see that. They want to see the freebies and the handouts. Well, when we have no more resources to promote and no more product going out, resources begin to dry up because you start printing shit money. Then you start printing false currency at a higher inflation rate. So that free money doesn't become free anymore. Okay. Think about that, folks. It doesn't become free anymore. Right? Something to ponder. Okay. Who doesn't like a handout? Well, sure. Fuck, I'd love a handout, but I'm the kind of person I'd rather go and work for it, and which I do. I do. Okay. I am employed, and I do get some income from this podcast and from my videos, what have you too, which I'm very grateful for. And I do want to thank my audience out there who has contributed so much to me this month. Thank you once again to everyone who has donated and contributed, but please consider donating still, like I say, either in Supercast or just follow the link there at the bottom of your page, crustycanuck.ca at donations, and go from there. Right. But it just gets ridiculous how there's so much race baiting out there. And there's even people my age too, who are all over it. Like it's some kind of, oh my God, we've never heard about this before. Oh, the inhumanity. I can tell you about those people personally. A lot of them are just jumping on the bandwagon to look like they care, when the majority of them don't. Okay. I care because I do have friends of mine that are First Nations, but they grew up in a pretty good household too. But they don't want to have to carry the weight because one group says they should. Okay. They don't want to have to carry physical and emotional garbage because one group says they should. Okay. And that's the thing. The whole tribal thing is coming back and forth again. Right. Yes, I agree. We should recognize some privileges out there, but not because of one person's skin color or one person's culture. It's about people's choices. Now, you can choose to sit and be angry about this all the fucking time. And believe it or not, I'm pissed off too, because we all knew the federal government had inside information on many things, as well as a lot of the clergies and the provinces too. And I would say a majority of the municipalities as well, and certain boards of education, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. But enough of the finger pointing and the blame and the race baiting and burning down people's property. Okay. If we're going to find a possible solution to this, why can't we learn from people like Gandhi, who sat and protested without violence? Like Martin Luther King, who sat and marched and protested without violence. Okay. He didn't tell people to go out and burn buildings and set fire to businesses and burn churches. He told people to love and care and do what you can. And regardless of how imperfect his personal life was, the man still amplified one hell of a fucking message. Same as Gandhi, too. He took on an empire. Okay? He took on an empire peacefully. There could have been many countries that would have sold him weapons and sold him guns and sold him bombs and fireworks and everything. Oh my. But he didn't. Look what he did. Okay. And that's something to learn from, regardless if you agree with it or not. And setting fire to churches and toppling statues isn't going to bring the lost ones back. Okay. Setting fire to Vimy Ridge will not honor the memory of our men and women that died there. Setting fire to any monument in Dieppe will not honor the men and women that fought there. Okay. And regardless of the social structure at that time or not, I'm well aware of the First Nations that committed the ultimate sacrifice too, in the name of Canada, in the name of family and friends, in the name of your tribe or your clan. I understand that. And I am very, very grateful that I actually got to know a couple of veterans. I actually met a couple of First Nation veterans that fought the Nazis, fought real Nazis too. And I'll say that for another episode, but some great fucking stories too. Great stories in history and the way they were treated and the resilience they presented in the face of that adversity. That gives you inspiration, right? And once again, ladies and gentlemen, please consider donating at SuperTech, right? Or Supercast. You can find me at Supercast. I'll leave the link down here at the bottom for you too to check out as well. You also find links in my description, and there'll be links in the description in this video as well. Ellis Ross makes a good point with Aaron Gunn. And Aaron Gunn, if you're listening right now, congratulations on your attempt or your future attempt to getting into liberal politics. Now, I disagree with the liberal brand right now because liberals do not stand for the same liberal principles that I grew up with. they're the furthest thing from it, right? They want to take your money and run. Okay. But good luck to Mr. Aaron Gunn, the citizen journalist. You see him pop up on YouTube, and he's been a guest speaker on Rebel and True North Media, what have you. And I managed to have a couple of chit chats with him. A nice guy. So please, good luck to you, Aaron, on all your endeavors. Hopefully I might see you in Parliament someday. We'll see. But needless to say, buddy, good luck to you. But he did a video with Ellis Ross there, BC MLA out of the Skeena area. And he's got some interesting stories too. I'll put some links in there in the description for you guys to follow as well. And please stay with me this Sunday. We're going to have another fastball. I'm trying to get some new guests on. A couple of people have left the show so far. Nothing bitter, no animosity towards these individuals. All they just went on to pursue different things, which is fine. I'm trying to get a couple of interesting guests on to weigh in on their belief and what's going on in the world of politics and social upheaval, what have you. So please stay tuned to that. I'll be posting information up on the fastball for this coming Sunday, July 4th. To my American listeners, I know you're celebrating 4th of July, your Independence Day. So if I don't get to hear from you or see you, happy Independence Day to my American listeners and viewers out there too. Have a couple of Pabst Blue Ribbons, maybe smoke a hoolie, put on some Leonard Skinner and rock on. You know, not that I'm saying you all listen to Leonard Skinner, but I think you catch my point, right? But anyway, to my American listeners out there, happy Independence to you. And welcome to the world of the Crusty Canuck podcast, if you can make it. So please, that's 4 o'clock Sunday, Mountain Standard Time. You can tune into that too. But I'll be taking a break from that for the next couple of weeks after that too. My work schedule has just increased. We have a couple of employees that are going on holiday. So I'll be taking over the extra hours, which is nice, which means a few more dollars in the bank. Getting things paid for and done. I got to do some deck work, what have you. So lumber is like buying cocaine. It's quite the fortune now. So I got to be careful with my pennies, ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to getting lumber, needless to say. But that's basically my rant for today, ladies and gentlemen, for the 2nd of July, 2021. We're not going to replace history because you're mad. You can be mad all you want. There's a lot of figures in history that I'm mad at, but I'm not going to burn any textbook or smash any in information or destroy information that presents their case or their actions, what have you. We're supposed to learn from history. We're supposed to embrace from it and take what we can, because, you know, who am I to deny you something you want to see, and vice versa? We know this. This is common sense, okay? You're not going to get ahead in progress and move forward if you keep destroying things. And like I said, if you want to topple statues down, fine. They're objects, but they still have meaning. They represent history. And if you want to add to the history, do so. Like I say, erect a statue of Tecumseh or Joseph Brant, okay, or of Sitting Bull. Erect said statues. You know, let's find some more Indigenous leaders that made a difference and erect statues for them too. Let's put some more up of Terry Fox, right? Let's put a statue up of Roberta Bondar, okay? She was one of the first Canadian females in space. I believe, if not, I think the first. So there's an honor right there we can erect. Right? There's lots of history this country has, and it may not be as glorious and as bloody as some of our allies' history, but it's worth the time and the effort to learn about just the same. Okay? Like I say, ladies and gentlemen, I've been Crusty Canuck on this beautiful and over hot. It's about 30 Celsius now in here. I got 2 fans going. And you can just see the sweat dripping down my chrome dome here. But like I say, you know, it's been an interesting week. But stand our ground, folks. Do what we can. Do what's right. You know, be honest. If we're going to demand truth and reconciliation, then demand the truth and reconcile like adults. Not like a bunch of spoiled little kids, okay? You're not going to honor the memory of anybody fallen by destroying property and setting fire to things. You're not. You know, that makes you no better than the oppressors of yesteryear. So think about that. Like I said, I've been Crusty Canuck on this beautiful 2nd of July, 2021. Keep hydrated. Do what you can. Help each other out. Look after your friends and loved ones and all that good stuff. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, humanity merit wins the day. Hope to see you Sunday. Take care. Bye for now.
Hit it, sweetheart. Because I am hard, you will not like me.
Yes, sir.
There is no racial bigotry here. Here you are all equally worthless.
This has been another episode of the Crusty Canuck podcast. Stay sane and thank you for listening. From Western Canada, this is the Crusty Canuck podcast.
Smack my ass and call me Judy.